How Vinnie Paul and Pantera revolutionized the art of metal. At that point in time, we truly were an army, the late Vinnie Paul recalled to Rolling Stone in 2012, while looking back on the 1992 release of Pantera&apos' massively influential Vulgar Display of Power, which landed at number 10 on RS&apos' Greatest Metal Albums of All Time list. We pulled the very best out of each one of ourselves, and with each record that we made, that mountain got taller and taller to climb. After Vulgar, we had to make Far Beyond Driven. It was just another level to go to, and that was reflected in the title. The family requests you please respect their privacy during this time. Band rights of Damageplan and Hell Yeah drummer. While metal bands typically brag about going harder and heavier with each new release, Pantera actually walked it like they talked it. With every one of their 90s releases, 1990 &apos Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power, 1994 &apos Far Beyond Driven, which peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and also ranked on RS&apos' Greatest Metal Albums list, and 1996 &apos The Great Southern Trendkill. The tight-knit quartet not only pushed themselves to new heights of brutality and aggression, but they also raised the bar for metal as a whole in the process. They changed everything, Zakk Wylde told Billboard in 2014. Not just musical direction-wise, but they changed the way that records sound. Production-wise, you can use those Pantera records as a Model T Ford for extreme metal, it &apos like, &apos this is how these records in this style of music have to be made. The drums need to be recorded and mixed like this, otherwise they &apos not going to cut through this wall of guitar and bass ! &apos, indeed, as anyone who &apos ever banged their head to tracks like Becoming, Walk, Mouth for War or Primal Concrete Sledge can attest. Paul &apos powerful drumming was just as integral to Pantera &apos assault of power as his younger brother Dimebag Darrell &apos next-level guitar pirate techniques, or vocalist Phil Anselmo &apos vein-popping roar. His unparalleled ability to stay in the pocket while also thundering like a one-man stampede helped shape the band &apos groove metal attack, and his tireless commitment to sonic excellence enabled him and Terry Date, who produced their albums from 1990 &apos Cowboys from Hell through the Great Southern Trendkill, to create drum sounds that were just as fearsome and envelope-pushing as his beats. We used to get accused all the time of sampling the drums, Date told Revolver in 2005, and we never did. Those were all just meticulously chosen sounds that we all worked really hard to get. And then of course the performances were played until they were right. While Pantera &apos songs primarily grew out of Darrell &apos guitar riffs, Paul &apos beats were sometimes so badass that they inspired Darrell to write songs around them. Becoming began life as a double-stroke kick drum pattern that Paul was messing around with during the recording sessions for Far Beyond Driven. I was just playing around with a drum thing, an idea for a drum solo, Paul told Rolling Stone in 2014. Dime heard me playing a pattern, and he ran in and said &apos hold on, let me get my guitar &apos, and we had a new song. Having essentially grown up together in a recording studio, their father, Jerry Abbott, was a successful country songwriter and record producer. Paul and Darrell shared a musical connection as strong as their fraternal bond. Paul, who worked closely with Date on the engineering and production of the records they did together, and who would officially co-produce Pantera &apos final album, 2000 &apos Reinventing the Steel, was always on hand during recording sessions to help his little brother shape his guitar solos. Vinnie would run the tape deck, while Darrell tracked, Date recalled to Revolver, because when Dime wanted to go back and punch in a part or fix a little part someplace, he would have to explain it to me, whereas, with Vinnie, they would just nod at each other, or Vinnie would go, and-apos semicolon do that Randy Rhoads part again comma and-apos, or and-apos semicolon do that Van Halen Y thing dot and-apos, because they grew up listening to the same stuff, and they were so much one person, they didn't and-apos semicolon t even need to talk. If something was not right, they would just look at each other and they would know. And you know something else? I never once heard those two argue. Not one time in the whole time I was with them, not one brotherly squabble. Those two guys got along better than any two brothers I and-apos semicolon v ever seen in my life. They were so close, it was scary. It was kind of always the two of them against the world. When Pantera dissolved acrimoniously in 2003 after 2 years of inaction, the brothers moved on together and formed Damageplan, a band with former Halford guitarist Patrick Lackman on vocals and Robert "Bobzilla" Kakaha on bass.